very much. All right. One thing I've learned lately is that having a stopwatch is actually quite helpful. Toastmasters, pleasure to be here. It has been a while since I've seen all of you, so it really is a pleasure to be. It's like being home. So this morning, driving here, I turned on the radio. Now, nothing unusual about that, right? So quick show of hands, how many of you have turned on the radio driving here? Most, just about everybody. So why did he turn on the radio? That was different for me driving here today. I actually started thinking about why did I turn it on? I wasn't looking for a particular program. I wasn't looking for music. It was just so empty. There was just nothing going on. Right? So I was addicted to something. I was craving something. What was I craving? I was craving information. There was nothing happening. There was no input. I was missing something. Recent research has shown that information has similar effect as food on us. It releases dopamine into our bloodstream. So we actually can become addicted to information. I knew this because I remember vividly, I was about 12, I was standing with a book in one hand and with a cheese sandwich in the other. I remember not being able to decide which one I was craving.
Yeah.
I'm quite glad that they actually substantiated that lately, that yes, there is such a thing. No, the phenomenon is not new, and the phenomenon is starting to affect us. It's starting to affect us because the generations of kids lately, including probably all of us, are exposed to a lot of information. We become addicted to it. We started as a human species, we started by grunting and groaning and pointing at things perhaps, and this is how we experience reality, by the reality being there. And then we combined the grunts and groans into words, and now the words represented the reality that was behind them. And then we came up with squiggles, and those squiggles became words, and the words represented the reality that we were looking at. And so the rate at which we were able to gather information was much faster. Then came the radio, then came the TV. I remember when I was growing up, there were just 3 channels. There was an old Russian joke about that. So on the first channel, there is Brezhnev giving a speech. So you flip to the next channel. On the second channel, there is Brezhnev giving a speech. So you flip to the third channel. On the third channel, there is a KGB man saying, "Don't you dare switch channels, Brezhnev." Of course, nowadays with, I don't know how many thousands of channels there are now, but channel switching, channel surfing is the norm, right? You just mindlessly switch through the channels. How much information are you actually getting? Not much. You're getting a lot of noise. You're getting a lot of background, and your brain is entertained, but there is nothing you're retaining out of it. And then 23 years ago, the first website went up. Think about it, just 23 years ago. Not very long at all. Now the information became really easy to come by because you could produce information, you could consume information. It became all linked. Now the amount of sites is staggering. Of course, you had to sit in front of the computer, right? So your day was kind of fractured. You actually had to come to the computer and sit in front of it. And then those devices came around, right? So nowadays, you don't even need to be in a specific place in order to gather all that information. Nowadays, I was at a conference recently, had to share a room with a fellow coworker. The first thing she does is checks her Facebook, email. The last thing she does is checks her Facebook and email, right? I knew that it existed, I just haven't seen it personally happen until then. So why is it a problem? The problem is just like if you never feel the tinge of hunger, just a little bit of hunger, right? It's likely you're going to get overweight. It's likely you're going to get obese because you never have that chance to be hungry for a moment. Same with information. If you are never bored, if you always are on, if you always turn on the device the moment that you feel a slight bit of boredom, your imagination doesn't go anywhere. You never have a chance to actually turn off, to let your creative powers take over. It's a problem for our kids, but it's a problem for us as well. So my challenge to everybody is perhaps choose a day, maybe during the next week, just choose a day. Perhaps write yourself a note to remind you of that. Try to pay attention as to where your information is coming from. Are you getting it from the direct experience? Are you getting it from a website? Are you getting it from the book? Just stop a few times during that day and think, oh, I just channel surfed or web surfed without really any particular reason. I just did it just because. So, and then perhaps report to us about it. Those masters.